Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. The risk disclaimer: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, goal of the webinar here is to go through, define what Bookmap is, who uses it, how to connect it to the markets, the different markets that we connect to as well, and the different data providers, and then how to get Bookmap. Then we'll look at the user interface, start to define the elements on there, and then start to look at the order flow. Okay, so when you subscribe to Bookmap, it comes with education. Okay, education is there's a 4-part educational course, and you can access that at any time. And then there's an advanced order flow webinar. That starts at 11 a.m. Eastern. In fact, I'm going to hand out the link to you today. So if you are not a subscriber and you want to check out and see what we do in our education, then you can attend at 11 a.m. here in about a half hour. Okay, so it's in the chat there in GoToWebinar there. Okay, so hold on a minute. There you go. Well, let me speak a little bit about the advanced order flow webinar. It backs up the same content that's in the course. Okay, so you can see it in the live market, the same course content, and ask questions. And then due to our analysis during that webinar, we start to anticipate where price might go. Okay, so therefore you have the ability to understand what Bookmap is, how to use it, how to see it in the live market, and then how to start to anticipate future price movement and ask questions. Okay. All right, let's jump into the website and define what Bookmap is. It's right here. We're software trading platform. We just have a unique way of visualizing the market with the heat map. Okay, we're able to show where other traders are in the market, where they're bidding and where they're offering. That's the one of the biggest advantages is being able to see that. Okay, so we're not a data provider, we're not a broker, we're software. We connect to U.S. equities, digital currencies, and futures. Okay, 3 different types of. Andrea, welcome back. Those are the 3 different types of markets. Who uses Bookmap? Okay, day traders, scalpers, swing traders, algos, quants, etc. We actually came from that HFT environment, but the way we visualize the data, you can use this, and we've gone through many examples even this week of how to use Bookmap on much higher time frames. I've seen all sorts of great stuff. Anyway, because we record that book, you're able to use the book on much higher time frames. So anyway, let's continue on. How to get an edge in the markets? Well, we're going to go through a lot of this during the webinar. Okay, you can read about it here. Connectivity. Okay, let's go over how we connect. I mentioned futures market, U.S. equities, digital currencies. Now, we're not the data provider, so for U.S. equities and and futures, you will need to provide the data, okay, through a data provider or your broker. Okay, digital currencies, that's provided for free. All right. Okay, so these are the different ways that you can connect. All right, for the U.S. equities, there's only one method, and that's through DX feed. Okay, now for the futures, you can connect with Rhythmic, CQG, Gain Capital, Transact, IQ Feed, Nanotick, and Cedro. And Cedro is for the Brazilian markets. You can also see that there's a few different platforms I skipped over here, okay, like TTX Trader Pro, Ninja Trader, and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. Okay, you can connect via the API of these 3 different platforms if you want. However, it is recommended to go directly with the data provider like Rhythmic, CQG, etc. Okay. If you want a free data feed for a couple weeks, you can click here. It's not through us. We just have a few links for you. Some good words about Bookmap. A little bit further down, pricing and packages. You can subscribe yearly, or you can subscribe monthly by clicking here. Okay, now you can see there's a couple different ones for digital and there's a couple different ones for global. So let's go through it. The digital one is free. Okay, you only get access to one digital currency, and that's it. Okay, you actually get a U.S. equities delayed feed as well. You get limited support and only the basic education, which is this webinar and our YouTube page. All right, so you can always check out and see what Bookmap is all about. In a live market, the data is free, so you can download it now and be connected. Now, you might say, well, I'm a futures trader. Well, you can still see what Bookmap is displaying, okay? And if you want futures, well, then subscribe for a month and check it out. That's the best way, okay? You can quit at any time, all right? So that's the digital version. The digital plus version, okay, you need to subscribe to, and you can trade right from your Bookmap chart into your live funded GDAX or BitMEX account. Okay, you can record and replay your data, and you get multiple instruments. Okay, not just one, you get all of them, and then you get the advanced education, okay, and full support. Okay, so that's what you get with the digital plus version. Right, the distinction there. Now, the global version, okay? Well, the global version, it connects to all the digital currencies, okay? So you get digital plus included, but it also allows the connectivity to futures and the US equities, okay? And that's really the only big distinction here. So you can connect to all of the markets with the global version. Okay, now the global plus version is all inclusive of everything here. And what you get, though, in addition, is our package here for the add-ons. Okay, proprietary indicators we develop that look at very specific order flow phenomena. Okay, like our large lot tracker here, we're looking at larger players in the book and how they might be bullying the book to move it in a direction they want, okay, or not. But the algo detects them. You can also trade right from the Bookmap chart into your live funded account. This is a great benefit because you have all of the liquidity heat map in front of you. So you can front run high liquidity to get your entries and you can hide your stops behind high liquidity to try to protect your stops. All right, imbalance indicators, different imbalance for the book as well as for the volume. And iceberg detector, okay? This is, again, larger players identified with our algo. And this allows you to spot those larger players who don't want to show their liquidity, okay? They're using the hidden order. And our algo can detect their presence. That's a real nice benefit. So you start to understand the larger players, what they're doing. And a correlation tracker, adding different markets. We've been going through that one actually last few days on the advanced order flow webinar, and it's been working really nicely. So I think we'll continue on with that. It's a really nice confluence at specific areas. And of course, you get the advanced education and full support. Okay, so those are the global versions and the digital versions and how you can subscribe. All right, let's move on. Social media. You might want to follow us on Twitter. All sorts of great stuff here. Trader interview, for example, different information here. All sorts of great stuff. So setups as well and other traders retweets, etc. Then our YouTube page. Okay, you can subscribe here, and we just have some intro or some playlists on the front page here. Okay, intro videos for those of you who are new, very short ones, except for the overview of Bookmap 7 and 6. Features and components. Okay, so all the different features you can watch those. And then order flow video snippets, very short, concise videos that go through the order flow phenomena that Bookmap visualizes. This will be the most helpful for you as a trader. Okay? Starting to understand what we're visualizing, how to read it, and the advantage you're getting. Okay, and it's this kind of content here we go through in the advanced order flow webinars in detail. Okay, so if you came in late, and I can see a bunch of you have, I'm giving out the link for the advanced order flow webinar today. Here it is. It's in the chat, so you can click on that and go to and watch how we go through our process in education in the live market. Okay, let's jump into Bookmap, and we're looking at the NASDAQ here. Okay, E-mini. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, we got some volatility going here today. Wow, a lot of back and forth here. Okay, as you can see. Yeah, boy, it's actually pretty slow. My Bookmap's pretty slow. I have a lot of data. I haven't closed it all week, so I have a lot of data here in the chart. Here we go. All right, so these elements on the chart, what do we see here? Okay, some great stuff right away, right off the bat. What am I looking at? Okay, well, you see this orangish, reddish, sometimes yellow and blue and white. That's the heat map. All that is, okay, is the order book, okay, from your DOM, your depth of market. Okay, we take these numbers, okay, the liquidity that is at specific price levels. These are the limit orders. Okay, we take those numbers, we paint them in a heat map form. Okay, so and the scale is up here. Okay, so very high liquidity is this kind of reddish color, and then orange, then yellow, then white, then blue is lower liquidity, and then the least amount is black. All right, so and without looking at we're also let me explain. There's just three elements on the chart here. One of them is the heat map, okay, and I'm explaining how we derive that, and then we're just plotting it on the chart. We're showing you where that liquidity is and how they're behaving on the offer and on the bid. Okay, the other element here is just historical best bid and offer, and then you see all these dots here. Okay, those are transactions. Okay, that's the volume that traded on the historical best bid and offer. Okay, very specifically or precisely recorded. It's not aggregated data, it's just really how the market unfolded and traded. What I find so interesting on this chart immediately, I know that a lot of stuff is going on, geopolitical stuff. Trump has been talking. We had great growth here with the advanced GDP numbers. However, Twitter, I think, missed by a lot on their numbers, and someone else I think did as well. So we're really seeing it sell off here. What I see immediately in the chart is look at the figure over here, 74.50. Okay, look at it over here before 9:30. They were in the book here, larger players or a lot of traders here bidding at this price level. Okay, it traded through that at the open, and boy did it ever, and it just kept going. Okay, this is a pretty strong move to the downside. This is actually really, we love seeing this kind of move in the webinar. We start to target high liquidity immediately because that's where the market goes to trade. That's what it needs. That's the fuel for the fire is liquidity. We'd be targeting somewhere around here, and then also this area here. And the market traded right through it, and it kept going. Okay, it definitely slowed it down. You can see the little bumps here and the kind of pullbacks, and then it kind of slowed down here as it went sideways for a bit, and it just kind of regained strength and came right back down into where? High liquidity down here and high liquidity down here. These areas here, you can see they were even here pre-market. Okay, they just added more and more into the book. So we're mapping out the whole day here, basically. And you can see where the market is going, and we're still going, okay, into these areas here of high liquidity. Okay, so let's see if we'll get into the current market in just a little bit. Great stuff here already. Now that's just on the bid side. Okay, and we're noticing that it trading into these areas of very high liquidity. Okay, this is the uniqueness here is this heat map. You're just not going to see this on other platforms. They don't. There's a few others out there that you know, have I think they've copied us. They now offer like a heat map, but the precision that we offer here is something unique. Okay, and that's really just because we came from that HFT environment, due to that, like it was important to us to show exactly what was happening for our own algos as we were developing our own algos. Like really, truly what happened when we got filled or how our algo made decisions. So recording that data was very important. Let's see if I'm very curious here. Let's zoom vertically a little bit more here. I imagine we're going to see kind of a pullback here in just a bit. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of different things going on here. And one of the things we look at in the advanced order flow webinar is we want to look at the order flow, okay? But we also want a kind of a guideline here in technical analysis, okay? And here's our guide, okay? Well, you can see a pretty nice price channel here, okay? And it's actually getting a little more shallow here. So we're starting to find that not as many sellers. So just putting the pieces together technically, we can see higher liquidity down here. It's trading into it. We're down next to our some of our technical analysis. Now we want to understand what's going on in the order flow. Okay, this is exactly well one of the processes we go through in the advanced order flow webinar. Okay, is to understand what the order flow looks like down here. Because if we start to see buyers starting to step in or sellers starting to wane, and they really get aggressive in the book, they want to be buyers here. Well, and we start to trade up a little bit. We're looking for it to come to at least to the other side of maybe this swing here, maybe the price channel, maybe even break it and come up into this area up here around. Well, here's the figure 7,400. Okay, that's what this high liquidity is over here as well. Okay, 7,400. Anyway, so understanding the order flow at these critical areas. Okay. Now, I haven't gone through yet. We've just talked about the heat map and some technical analysis here. Okay, the other two elements here on the chart. Okay, let's zoom into an area and take a look here. We'll zoom into this big breakdown and cluster here. Okay. Looks like I had a little bit of a disconnection there. So we'll have to move on and look at this area here. And let's zoom vertically. All right, so here are all three elements on the chart. Okay, now you know what this is. This is the heat map. Okay, and all it is liquidity from the depth of market. You can see at 73.77. There's 111 contracts here. Okay? So very high. Up here, let's zoom. Go back a little bit more. Okay, and we can see there's 118 contracts up here and 124 up here. Okay, so very high liquidity. That's a lot for the NASDAQ. You know, we actually, it looks like we traded into this. So we found some buyers here trading into that high liquidity. Okay, both times. Buyers took them on and they traded through. Okay, starting to find some buyers buying interest coming in here. That's a good sign. Traded through it again. Okay, where are the sellers down here? We don't see them, not much. I'm getting way ahead of myself here. So we know what the heat map is. Let's zoom in and look at the other two elements and just a very, very simple, straightforward data here or information being displayed. One is the historical best bid and offer. Best offer is this red line. Best bid is the green line. Okay, that's it. That's all it is. And then you can see here these dots. Okay, these are transactions. These are market buy orders, the green dots. Okay, they cross the spread and they take liquidity off of the best offer. And then you see these red dots, and those are market sells. They're taking liquidity off of the best bid. Okay, that's it. Okay, those are the three elements on the chart. Best bid and offer, volume that traded on it, and the heat map, where they're bidding and offering in the book. Now we have a complete picture of the order flow. Now we can start to understand the behavior and the intent of traders on the bid. So for example, we found some buyers up in these areas here. Okay, they traded through these three areas of high liquidity. We start to rotate back down. Look at the sell or the buying up here. Okay, well, we don't see much, especially on this kind of little double top here. Not very much at all, none. Okay, the buyers come in and they rotate down and they're shooting for this liquidity down here. And what do these guys do down here? They actually start pulling their liquidity. Okay, so the auction here at this area, they're starting to pull liquidity, and look at them on the offer. Okay, they're actually following down very aggressively here. Okay, and now the auction is between a very small range here. Okay, between 86 and 84, and then we see these guys starting to pull. Okay, and we find more sellers trade through that area because they can very easily, we don't go go down too far, and they just kind of exhaust out. There's not a lot of selling down here. We start to rotate right back up, and we find those buyers again. Okay, interested up at 86. So we know that there's buyers that are interested in here. Okay, they exhausted out here, but they came right back in and traded through there. Okay, so let's go zoom out here and start to put this together here. Okay. All right, so anyway, some sideways action here for a while, okay, and then the sellers, they take control here. Okay, look at the nice auction here on that buy side into those areas of high liquidity. So that looks good. Okay, but here they fail to make a higher high. Okay, and again here. We start to see some selling coming in at the bottom here. Not much, but some. Okay? And then look at where they took control here, the sellers. Okay, look at the dots here. Okay, this is exactly what happens. I mean, we go back down a range, and it takes a lot of selling pressure to move it outside of this range here. Okay, where price was accepted. Okay, now it's accepted lower. Okay, we even see the retest right to where we drop from here. This is one of the setups we look for time and again. And it's a good one because if we're going to accept lower and you get a retest back up and you don't see a lot of buying, well, anticipate it to come right back down here and look for price discovery to the downside. And price discovery, it took a little time here, a little sideways action, but it occurred. Okay? Right into where? Targeting areas of high liquidity. Okay? All right. So anyway, those are the three elements, a little bit of analysis, a little bit of understanding of what traded or what didn't, okay? Let me zoom in again here because those buyers that we're looking at. This is a distinction here. You can use this data tip tool if you want the very precise data here. Okay, so you get the date, the time, and then the ask. On the ask here, so there's 110 contracts. Okay, and the buyers traded right into it and traded through it. Okay. We can hover over the volume dots here as well and get the very precise volume. We can zoom in even further and we can see every single transaction, okay, down to nanosecond levels here, and how they're, truly how it's trading. Okay. Now we don't trade at those levels, so we zoom back out and we just kind of consolidate it or aggregate it into a bigger dot for you. Okay, but it's all there. All the details are there. Okay, so it's truly not aggregated data, just visually when you zoom out. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is this is real liquidity. Okay, this was down here as well. They stayed in the book. Okay, they actually traded. Okay, that's fact. Okay, we know that. And the distinction here is a lot of traders will say, well, the dome is great, but it's all fake liquidity. They're always pulling and adding, and that is true. But here's the distinction. Okay, this is fact. These guys traded, and these guys traded here as well. Okay, what does pulled liquidity look like? This is pulled liquidity down here. Okay, on the bid, they're starting to bid in here, 37 contracts, 35, 36, and then when price comes down, what do? They pull. They got cold feet. They don't want to trade. Okay, and it gets dark in here, down to 23 contracts, and then and price rotates back up and they jump right back in. Okay, and why would they do that? Well, you know, they're not so decisive yet about their intent to trade at this level. Okay, when price came down, they certainly did not want to. Okay? And they jumped out, and he jumped out once again. Okay, and we already covered this area here. That they jumped out, and then we see that that offer come down pretty aggressively. Okay, so we're looking for that continuation to the downside. Anyway, it's just, you know, perhaps I'm going on a little too quickly for some of you if you're new here, but it's just really common sense. And what the data that we're looking at here, and putting together just an auction, understanding the auction. Okay, on the bid, they don't want to bid, they're pulling. Okay, we know their behavior. We saw it over here. We're seeing it here. What's new is this behavior here. Okay, and all the way down, but then very aggressive here. Okay, on the offer, bringing down 41 contracts here. Okay, and price continued on lower. Okay, well, it rebounded. It came right back up, and it's real liquidity. These guys are real. You know, they wanted to be sellers. They got what they wanted. They got the buyers took them on and traded right into them and a little bit through just by a tick. Anyway, those are the elements. Let's go to current price. I wanted to make that distinction between real liquidity that stays in the book and trades versus those other areas of liquidity where they don't have the intent to trade. Okay, look, we're coming right into this area here. Again, this area was actually, well, it traded through just a little bit, but this is kind of, it's not the greatest example of absorption, but not bad, right? It traded into this area here, and look at the nice bounce out. Okay, so there was no more selling pressure to go through this area here, and this is what absorption looks like. And we have a few different layers of it. One actually pulled on this one, and then two. Okay, so you know, this is exactly what we're starting to look for down at this area. Okay, why? We had our technical analysis. Let's zoom out a bit more. Okay, we had our technical analysis, right? We had these areas of high absorption here. We saw some buyers starting to come in, right? We trade down lower, but we just traded back again, and we saw the buyers, we saw the on the bid, they absorbed that price level, and we found aggressive buyers lifting the offer up to the swing high here. Okay, so what does this pattern look like now? And we're starting to understand the pattern in terms of order flow. It's a nice double bottom pattern. Okay, well, let's see what these, we'll continue on in the next webinar. I gave you guys the link. Here it is if you came in late. Okay, so it's in the chat there. Click on that, and then you can register for the advanced webinar. And we go for about an hour. Just go through the same course content, but we do it in the live market and start to anticipate where price is going to go. So you can join us there. We'll see you there. And if not, then have a good weekend. Okay, guys. Bye-bye.